Hello. Sorry for the terrible lighting. I'm currently renovating a new house, so doing this on the floor. Um, so I'll just start with kind of the role play. Hey Kyle. I know a couple months we talked about me being the training manager and me moving up in the company and taking on more responsibilities. And I feel like I've been starting to take on more responsibilities. But I'm having a hard time seeing my actual manager role being used to its full extent in the office. And I just feel like our owner doesn't acknowledge my role very much or at all. Um, what would you do? Um, and then hopefully Kyle would usually respond. I've actually had this conversation, and Kyle usually responds with some answer that the owner has given. He has lied twice about things that have been said that he says has not been said. But we have recorded conversations about, those previous conversations being had about my role. But he doesn't believe that they've been had. Um, so, yes, my big topic today is communication and roles within the family. I believe that this are kind of like defining um, points of the family structure, and they are part of the glue that holds it together. Communication being one of the most important because it's how we express our feelings, our thoughts, and how our dreams and things like that to our family members and friends and um, anybody we interact with throughout the daily basis. Um, so that's why we need effective communication within the family. That doesn't mean it does mean sharing your own thoughts and feelings with your family members and making sure that your voice is heard within the family structure. But it is also important to keep in mind that active listening, nonverbal communications, and things like that aren't um, explicit conversational cues are things that you've got to pay attention for and kind of train um, to kind of learn around your family structure and how your family members all communicate with you and with each other so that you can pick up on those cues and effectively communicate. Um, and I believe that's one of the big problems that I was having with my boss and my manager is there just seems to be a large miscommunication of what my role is within the company. Uh, And then going on to that tangent, defining clear roles within the family is very important because as a person, you need to have a purpose to fulfill within the family and within your life so that you can be productive within your family structure and to yourself. Um, Defining roles will help you avoid misunderstandings and conflicts. Like at work, we're having a lot of miscommunication and fighting right now because my role is not clearly defined within the managerial staff. Um, had we had better communication and clearly defined my role when I started taking on these responsibilities, there would be less conflict right now as our busy season is starting to ramp up. Another thing with clearly defining roles is the reason that my position was made was because the manager did not have time to continue training on new technicians as well as maintain his operations manager position dealing with all his day-to-day stuff. So defining roles is what's going to help us get through those fair distribution of tasks. We can fairly distribute out who does what, how much is getting done, and making sure that all the tasks are getting done properly in an efficient manner. Um, and over time, these roles are going to change and evolve. Like I was just saying, he's the operations manager, and he's been training everybody for the last 4 years. However, as his role has grown and changed, and as the company has grown and changed, um, he's had to grow and change within his role. this is the same within the family, as we can see that as we grow older, as your older sister, older brother, they get a girlfriend, boyfriend, they bring them into the family system, and it starts kind of, they have to take less time out of the house, and then you have to take more time on some of the chores within the house. It's just important as a family to maintain the evolution of everybody's lives and maintain those family roles and keep up with the family structure. And that's why communication is so important to roles. Um, these two points tie in together very well, because without clear communication, we couldn't clearly define these roles, and without clearly defining roles, the family doesn't really know what they're doing, and communication starts to fall apart, and there's more conflict, and things like that. Okay. So role play activity, really quick. Um, what I'm going to have the audience do is I'm going to have you grab a piece of paper, think about all the family members that you have at home, within your household, and then just make a chores list. What needs to get done daily, what needs to get done weekly, what needs to get done monthly, and then kind of start to divide up the tasks into who already kind of takes over those roles, and then what roles need a more clearly defined person assigned to it. Um, and then we'll get back together and discuss. Okay, and then the audience would come back, they'd discuss, yeah, Johnny does dishes on Mondays, and Tina does dishes on Tuesdays, and so on and so forth, throughout the laundry list of household chores. Um, and so, just to kind of summarize what we were going over, um, being able to communicate with your family members, or even just people within your lives, like I was saying, drawing back from my example at work, communication is extremely key in maintaining those relationships and roles within families and other relationships within your lives. Um, Being able to actively listen and pick up those nonverbal cues, and make yourself heard within the family system is very important, because um, if you feel like you're taking on too many roles or too much responsibility, um, you're gonna feel burnt out, and there's gonna be more fighting and conflict within the family. So make yourself heard. Um, Make sure to clearly define those roles within the family, so that everybody's getting a fair distribution of tasks, and nobody's getting burnt out within the family. Um, and I just wanted to thank you for listening, and that's all I had to say. Thanks.